Previously on Blend.
How many of these well known, very successful people that we all know put pressure on the younger generation, the upcoming generation, to be successful? How many of them can you name that actually puts pressure on the younger generation? What we can see across board are people who encourage the younger generation, who preach the values of focus, persistence, dedication, patience. Good morning. You're listening to Lázougi Live here on your number one electronic music station in God knows where, and you're listening to Blend. This is Blend episode 8 here on Lázougi Live. It is a pleasure once again to be back here as we go into our conversations, as we go in depth into our topics of conversation, as we talk what minds and interact here on Blend. I feel really good to be back again, to be back to this place, okay, where we get to talk, where we get to interact. It's been quite a while. It's been a hectic 3, or should I say there about 2/3 months of absence due to our power failure. But those 3 months or 2 months and a half or whatever, we're learning experiences that that help me build up patience to be able to survive such a very hard time. So let me put it that way, okay? So a lot of experiences during that period really stood out for me. And even though the days were very repetitive, it was moments like that gave me the ability to to withstand a lot of the hard times that I've experienced and that I know are going to be ahead of us in the nearest future. But I'm good. I'm glad to be back again. I'm glad that we get to do this once again. I'm glad that we get to talk. And I want to say thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of this broadcast once again as we get into our topic of conversation. How are you doing this wonderful? I hope you're well. I hope you had a wonderful night. And if you're listening to this broadcast during the daytime or whatever you're listening from, wherever you're listening from, it's, I want to say, Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to your number one electronic music station in God knows it. My name is Lázougi, and this morning we are going to be talking and getting into a topic of conversation that I want us to talk about, that I want us to deliberate on, that I want us to rub minds together. And of course, you know that you can be part of this conversation by making use of the live chat box and weighing in with your suggestions, your opinions, and your ideas right here on your YouTube application. All you simply have to do is open up your live chat box and share your thoughts, share your ideas. And of course, if you're listening to this broadcast via our archives, all you simply have to do as well is make use of the comment section right here on your YouTube application to share your thoughts and your opinions. I found solace doing those repetitive days by doing a lot of sitting still. Okay, uh, but besides being able to sit still for long periods of time, doing absolutely nothing but being patient and hopeful, and sometimes I read, and I also found solace watching comedy on YouTube. And I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know it was something that you could actually do and have a lot of comedy at your fingertips whenever you want, whatever you want to. So it was something I discovered, and I really found solace in it. Okay, and it got me thinking. I said to myself, when next I'm going on a date, I'm going to take the lady on, to a comedy show so somebody else can do the talking on my behalf. And at the end of it, I take all the credit. And again, like I mentioned, an experience that stood out for me, or one of those experiences that stood out for me during this past 2 or 3 months of absence. In total overall, this year alone, we have had power outage for, I guess, 6 months. If we combine all of the times when we have been without power, I think all of those times have accumulated into like 6 months straight without power supply. I mean, it's crazy. And now that we're back, we've got so much to do. We've got so much to catch up on. We've got so much to talk about. I'm just waking up, and I'm trying to lift my spirits up because it's 2:45. It's 2:45 a.m. over here, so I'm trying to lift my spirits up and and get into this broadcast. Okay, so pardon me if I sound kind of grudgy and a bit um, uh, uh, incoherent. So, but let us get into our topic. Okay, what we're going to be doing, what we're going to be talking about. I just wanted us to catch up on some of the things that happened during this past 3 months. I hope that at your end you had a lot of fun. I hope that you had a wonderful time. I hope that you didn't have to experience, something uh, so I, so difficult. Like you didn't have to go through a lot of difficulty or difficult times. I hope it was a smooth sailing ride for you this past couple of months. I know even though there's no short thing as a smooth sailing ride, but I hope that you majority of the time are happy with where you're at. Okay, I hope that you're happy doing what you love to do, and I hope that you know had a lot of fun. Okay, this past couple of months doing those things. I know I did mention, I think yesterday, that I'm going to be sharing with you my lucid dream experience, one that was so unexpected, one I wasn't prepared for. I thought I was going to give you the gist I was going to share with you what actually happened. And I told you that even though after lots of failure while trying to actively engage myself in this experience, while I try to make this experience happen for myself, I always tend to not accomplish this. Okay, so a lucid dream, you have to sleep, and during the course of your sleep you become aware of your presence in the dream, and by your awareness you become you you by your awareness of being in a dream, you tend to achieve some level of control over what happens within this dream. But it is a process, or it is an experience that is very difficult to initiate, especially when you have to do it by falling asleep. So when it happened to me after so much trial and failure, it was something that stood out for me this past couple of months. And I didn't do anything too mind blowing, but all I did was explore my surroundings while still being asleep, and I just walked around my home. I know that kind of sounds weird. If you're not into lucid dreams, you'll have to do a bit of research to know what a lucid dream is, and being able to sleep and still have control over your dreams and do all sort of cool stuff that you necessarily couldn't do while you're awake. But in a dream, everything is possible. You're able to wrap time. You're able to The sense of time isn't too pronounced, or isn't too too the time doesn't really matter. Let me put it that way. In a dream, everything just reality is wrapped, and when you have control over it, you can basically bend this reality according to how you want it to happen within this dream, simply by you being aware and articulating your awareness. That is all you do whenever you find yourself in a dream and want to experience this, is simply just become aware of your presence within that dream. So you be like, oh, okay, I'm in a dream now. But that awareness is what is difficult to achieve, because you're asleep and you're dreaming. But when it does happen to you, when it does happen to you, and you're able to articulate that, awareness in that dream and say, oh, I'm in a dream, then you have full control of what happens within that dream. So, like I said, I did a lot of exploration, walked around, did a lot of, walking around, just like beginner steps, basically. And along the way, I met some guy came out of the wall and was like, okay, you're gonna be stuck here. You're gonna be stuck here if you forget your name. And I was like, really? Okay. I was like, really? Okay. At that point, I shouted my name. My name is, and the person was like, okay, you can go now. And I was like, really? I can go now? Yeah, yeah, you can go now. And he showed me a sign on it. It was written PWD. I was like, okay, because PWD is a bus stop where I come from. So I don't getting that with that sign. But I read the sign and I found out that I was awake, and that was how I woke up. And the whole experience for me at the time was really, really like, whoa, okay, what just happened? I know within this couple of sentences, it's just a summary, but the experience itself was just really, really mind blowing in sort of a way, in a sort of way. Like, it was, okay, what just happened? So if you're into lucid dreams, or you haven't been able to really experience it, I think what really worked for me was just not even was me not chasing. At some point, I just forgot about it and it just happened to me. I think perhaps that should be something you consider. That is, you letting go. If you want to achieve a lucid dream, you not being too persistent about it can actually help you achieve it in the long run. Like, that's my thoughts on you getting the best out of lucid dreams. Enough catching up for now. Okay, it's time for us to get into our topic of today, into why we are here, into what we came to discuss. I just wanted to put out, what I've been up to, what I've been doing during this past couple of months. Truly, not much. A lot of waiting, a lot of repetitive days, like layers of the same days stacked on top each other. Like, imagine layers of Mondays stacked on top each other, like skyscrapers of Mondays, like endless Mondays just stacked on top each other. Then you get an idea of what the past couple of months have been like for me. But I'm glad to be back. I'm glad that we can get into our topic of conversation. I'm glad that we can have this experience and listen to music and have some fun and talk and interact and do what we do here on your number one electronic music station in God knows where. We're going to be going into our topic of conversation, and that topic is based on a question that I'm going to be asking, and we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about this question or this topic bordering around this question. And the question is, are private social media accounts really private? That is the question we are going to be analyzing and seeking answers to. And if you already have your answer, if you already have your straightforward answer, share your answer with me right here on your chat box, or share your answer right here with me via the live chat box right here on your YouTube application. Okay, so share your answers, your thoughts, and opinions. But this is what we're going to be talking about: are private social media platform are private social media accounts really private? I probably should have washed my face or something. I just jumped out of bed and came right here. Okay, so pardon me. I'm still rusty. It's been a couple of months, but definitely as we get into the course of the broadcast, you know, I'm going to liven up basically. So that's the question. That's the topic. Are private social media accounts really private? But before we get into this conversation, we're going to listen to some music. For some. We're going to go on a music break and listen to some music. And when we come back from it, we are going to take a deep dive into it. I got some articles that I want to share with you as well that we are going to be looking at in the course of this broadcast. So, like I always say, it's going to be a well-packed episode full of music, full of conversation, talk, interaction, and a whole, a total immersive experience for us to enjoy this wonderful Saturday morning. Yeah, on your number one electronic music station in God knows where. So, songs, the first one is titled "Hacked," follow, followed up by a song I call 2055. So enjoy these two songs, and when we come back, we are going to go into our conversations.
Spiritually fit so that you can always find it in yourself, to go deep. Mentally fit so that you're listening to blend. Spiritually fit so that you can always find it in yourself, to grow deep. Mentally fit so that you're listening to blend.
Welcome back from that music break. You are listening to Lázougi Life, yeah, on your number one electronic music station in God knows where, and you're tuned into Blend episode 8. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for being part of our conversations. The music break that we the music that we listen to during the music break, the songs are titled the first one is titled Hacked and the second one is titled 2055. I hope you enjoyed that one and I hope you had fun listening to that one. Now we're going to be going into our topic of conversation, and the topic is based on a question, which is are private social media accounts really private? That is what we'll be talking about. That is the topic of conversation, and that is the topic we'll be looking and that I'll be looking into and analyzing and seeking answers to. By now, it's no longer news that I'm off social media. Okay, I've been off social media for a while, and for I think for some years now, and my social media accounts, that is my Twitter and my Instagram. I no longer use Facebook. Both of them, that is Twitter and Instagram, have all been set, to private accounts. So I currently don't make use of these accounts, and I've put these accounts on private. In line with recent events, or due to recent events happening currently, I think there is something happened currently that we need to take a look into, that we need to talk about, and we need to take a step back to look at these issues or to look at this phenomenon to see where a lot of this progressive and a lot of these progressive ideas that we have currently are taking us to. Okay, we need to take a step back to look at this recent social issues or these social occurrences happening presently. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about this trend, or should I say, this current trend of employers, and not just employers, insurance companies, embassies, even government agencies, checking and going through the social media accounts of members of the public to screen them before further engagements with them. That is to say, if you want to get a job now, there is a high chance that whoever you're going to be working with, that is your employer, is going to be going through your social media accounts in order to screen you, to get an idea of the kind of person you are, the kind of values you have as a person, the kind of principles you stand up for, in order for them to screen you and look out for any red flags or any red flags or any kind of behavior that is not in line with what they stand for as a brand or as a company. So it goes further, much further than just companies. It goes on, it extends on to embassies. Just recently, according to this article that I have open right here, this article is from BBC, and it says, that is the headline: US demands social media details from visa applicants. So you can say that it's not just companies, but even embassies are also doing this now. It's now becoming the norm for people or for organizations, for companies, government agencies to screen our social media accounts in order for them to get a better understanding of who we are, or who, or the kind of values or principles we stand up for, before they engage with us, or before they allow us to make use of their service, or before we allow to make use of. Yeah, before we allow to make use of their service. Okay, so I also have another article here from Forbes. We're going to take a look into these articles to see what what this trend is all about. And again, I like I mentioned, private social media accounts are not the norm. Like presently, it is not the norm for you as an individual, or it is not the norm in society today for anyone basically to have a private social media account. Most of the time, what we find is people putting out their information and making it available for anyone to see. That is, you have a Twitter account, Instagram account, and you put out your information, people follow you, and you interact with your followers, and stuff like that. But presently, private social media accounts, having a private social media account is something out of the ordinary presently. And we have this article from Inquisitor, which according to the headline, it states more employers than ever are making hiring decisions based on applicants' social media history. So as we can see, this is gradually becoming the norm. This is gradually becoming the norm. According to this article, it says your online presence is now your resume, says a consultant. Let me read some lines, a few paragraphs. Let's see what it's saying. It says your social media history could be the deciding factor in whether or not you get a job that you applied for, Yahoo Money reports. That's because more employers than ever are checking applicants' social media history before making a job offer, and indeed, some applicants are even turning to professional help to clean up their social media footprints. Now, my question is, if this becomes the norm, if this becomes something that everybody sees as normal, what happens when such a company or such an organization or government agency encounters a private social media account? What happens in such an instance, or what happens in that scenario when these companies or government agencies or embassies encounter a private social media account? Will you be made to will you be made to no, I'm just asking questions. Will you be made to open your social media account for them to go through? Like, will it be okay for you to do that as well? Like, will you be comfortable if perhaps you find yourself in this situation and you're being asked to open your private social media account so that a company or an embassy or a government agency can screen you? Is that something that do you find that acceptable? Because the truth is, as social media evolves, it, it can get to a point where people start to feel that they don't need to put out their information for people, that is for just anyone to see. And very soon we probably might see a rise in private accounts, that is people will start to curate their content for perhaps just a close or a close number of friends or family members. So perhaps Instagram account, you have an Instagram account that you put on private, or a Twitter account that you put on private, just to share, your pictures, or just to have this connection with just, a close and a handful of people, just close friends and family. And we can get to that point when people start to see this as something that is more preferable than having a situation where all of their information is just open to the public. And if we have a situation like this, and we have another situation on the other hand, where companies now go through people's private social media, but now go through people's social media accounts to screen them, what happens when they encounter a private social media account? That is the question I'm trying to ask. That is what I want us to talk about. Okay, do you think it is acceptable in this scenario for whatever agency or company to request that you as a person, or this individual, it doesn't have to be you, open his or her private account for them to look into and screen this person? Because presently presently a lot of us use mobile phones that have passwords on them, just because we want some level of privacy on our phones. So we put a password on it. And definitely, I know many people will agree with me that it is unacceptable for any company or whatever, any unauthorized person, to simply request for their password for them to unlock their phones, so that they can be screened based on the content within their phones. So this progressive idea that we're seeing currently, is something we need to take a step back and look at it and say, okay, is this really the right step forward? It looks like the logical thing to do. It looks like the best way forward, okay? That people should be screened based on what they put online. But at the same time, we forget that these social media platforms have already made it inbuilt in their applications for some level of privacy to be put in place in case any person, that is any user using their platform, chooses to do so. So you can choose to put your account on private, because companies these social media companies have made provision for that. And if more people decide to do that, decide to use private accounts, do you think it raises suspicion presently for anyone to be running a private account? Do you think it raises eyebrows? Do you think it's something out of the ordinary for anyone to be running a private social media account? Will it cause some level of suspicion if such companies or agencies or whatever discover that as an individual you're using a private account? Would that cause some level of suspicion and some perhaps level of discrimination, and maybe once they encounter such a person they might not want to engage further with that person based on that fact alone that this person is running a private account? Or will they have to tell such an individual to unlock their accounts so that they can be screened? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Let me know your opinions. And basically, how you can do this is by making use of the live chat box right here on your YouTube application. Presently, presently, there is no way of us actually finding out what will happen if such a scenario happens. Okay, because like I said, private social media accounts are not the norm. Majority of people just put their stuff online and leave it out there for the public to have access to. But I envision a situation where social media evolves, and people decide to limit limit the level of personal information that they put out there to just a close, to just a close handful of friends, just a few friends and family members, kind of like a private snap. Okay, we already know that things like that, like you know, like private snaps, we already know that you can have like something like that. But what of private Twitter accounts, private Instagram accounts, private Facebook accounts? What will happen in such a situation when people start to when people start to have more and when people start to have more of these accounts? Okay, when people start to make use of this account, what will happen? Are these companies going to make it mandatory for people to unlock their phones, or actually their accounts, for them to be screened? Or is there a way for them already to be able to bypass that privacy? And even if you set your account on private, you can simply maybe go to some database, or I don't know, I'm just asking questions. Perhaps there is a means to be able to do that maybe many people don't really know about, that you can just bypass that privacy settings on the account and still be able to view whatever the person has posted on that account. So this phenomenon that we're experiencing now, that is gradually becoming the norm, is something we need to take a step back and look at and ask ourselves, is this the way forward for us as people, as a society? Is this the way forward for us? Is this what we should be doing now, considering the fact that perhaps later in the future social media might evolve and we might have a different experience altogether in how we make use of social media? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think, and let me know your opinions. Okay, feel free to share them with us. Feel free to weigh in and let's talk. Okay, let's interact and let's get to really understand what is happening right here. What we're going to do currently is we are going to go for a music break. When we come back from this music break, we'll talk a little bit more extensively and we'll go into these articles. Let's just look at some few paragraphs and look at what exactly we are facing with this latest phenomenon. Okay, this song that you're going to be listening to in a couple of, this song that you're going to be listening to during this forthcoming music break is titled Dirty Laundry. Enjoy this one. When we come back from it, we're going to be going into the conversation. Don't know. I was about to say don't change that dial, but keep it locked right here on the station. Okay, there's no dial right here, but keep it locked right here on the station. Of course, you know that there's more talk, more music, and more conversation right here on your number one electronic music station in God knows. You enjoy this song. The song is titled Dirty Laundry. When we do come back from it, we'll be going further and further into our conversation today. Welcome back from that music break. You are listening to Lázougi Live here on your number one electronic music station in God knows where. This is Blend episode 8. And the song that you listened to during the music break was titled Dirty Laundry. I hope you enjoyed that one. And before that music break, we've been talking and having a conversation based on a question that I want us to analyze and deliberate on. And the question is, are private social media accounts really private? Okay. And what we see currently happening is is something a lot of people will advocate for. A lot of people will say is the right step to take, and a lot of people see no issue with having all of these agencies, all of these companies, embassies, employers checking, their social media platforms or their social media accounts to screen them. A lot of people don't find anything wrong with that presently, but as time goes on, as time evolves, as social media evolves, a lot of people are going to be making some personal some changes and are going to be moving their account and making the account more private. And what happens when such happens? What happens? What are these companies? What steps are they going to take? Let's look at this article. Let's look at some, let's look at some of these articles, read some paragraphs to see where we're headed. This article is from Forbes, and it says life insurers can use social media posts to determine premiums as long as they don't discriminate. So there's a caveat here, as long as they don't discriminate. So let's underline discriminate. As long as they don't discriminate. Let's think about that. Think about think about that for some couple of seconds. As long as they don't discriminate. It goes on to further say New York Department of Financial Services has released new guidelines that allow life insurance companies to use data from customers' social media posts to determine their premiums, and experts say that these rules could potentially extend beyond New York's borders. The new guidelines suggest that companies can use data from other non-traditional sources as well, though we have to prove the information doesn't unfairly discriminate against protected groups. Protected groups. An insurer should not use an external data source, algorithm, or predictive model for underwriting or rating purposes unless the insurer can establish that the data source does not use and is not based in any way on race, color, creed, national origin, status as So, like I said, we need to understand the change that we are currently undergoing in society. We need to understand where we're headed, and sometimes we need to take a step back to look at some of these practices and determine for ourselves if this is the best way forward. Okay, I want to say thank you